What's up, everyone? In today's video, we're going to be going over some of our best setups for the market tomorrow, and we have some scary data, 70 years worth of data to be exact, showing that tomorrow can be a nasty day. So, of course, make sure to stick with us to go over all of the great plays and setups for tomorrow. We also have earnings season in, like, the most important week of the entire season. So, of course, we're going to take a nice look at the earnings stocks for tomorrow as well. But with that being said, Tom, let's jump right into today's episode.
Yeah, Mike, the overall market had a crazy move heading into today. It was actually popping up in pre-market. Then whenever the market opened, we traded lower all throughout the day. And I don't know what happened at the end of the day. I was actually looking all around for a whole bunch of news. I saw some stuff with banks and like tightening credit conditions and stuff like that, but I didn't really see too much. So I'm looking at SPY here thinking, what the hell happened? End of day, it exploded all the way up back to 458, which was highs of this morning. Maybe it was just an end of day run up. Maybe it was because of the banks, but either way, that is huge to see. And a lot of the big tech stocks actually kept running back to the upside too, which is great, especially when we're coming up into the earnings this week. Like, man, Mike, we have Apple reporting later in the week, and these stocks are at key resistances. Like, Apple's been sitting up here failing to break for like a week straight now, and it has to be time. Something has to give soon.
Everyone's looking at these big tech stocks like Apple and Amazon and AMD for their earnings this week. It is so important because earnings so far has been kind of mixed, but also like kind of scary because, like, yeah, we had some stocks like Meta have a good reaction, but like Tesla and Microsoft didn't necessarily have the best earnings reactions. And it's like when you have powerhouses like Apple and Amazon and AMD and a bunch of others set to report in a couple days, it's like if those reports are bad, or even if they're good, if they have bad reactions, that can completely change the markets. And, let's be real here. It is more than possible to see like good earnings reports, but just have the stocks fall anyway.
Exactly. That's the big thing with earnings. They can go any which way. And I know people always like to guess, and it's very enticing to try and play these because sometimes the options will pop up 500, 600, even 1,000% plus on some cases. But then there's other times where the stocks will actually move and the option won't do anything. So it really just comes down to, trying to be safer, I think, with these plays and waiting to see what happens after the reports. Looking at AMD here, Mike, they've been trading in this range right here for a while now, between like 112 and 115. And with those earnings tomorrow and after hours, that should finally give us like a good insight into what's going to happen. And AMD is actually my favorite company reporting this week. I love them as a company. They obviously are one of the growing semiconductors out there, and they deal with a ton of stuff. And what I love is they have the graphics cards, which is really big for AI. So they're even like an AI company in some ways. Now, I know that, they're not like necessarily making AI, but hey, it's definitely big to make the chips for it too.
No doubt. Like, this earnings week is like what I'll call the holy grail of like buffets for earnings stocks. Like, basically anything you could want is available. And I'll say for tomorrow, though, a stock I'll be watching pretty closely, and Tom, this would be kind of interesting but also kind of boring, is Pfizer. So Pfizer is a company that we all know, and what's interesting is that while this stock doesn't have crazy moves like Apple, this stock is down quite a bit over like the past couple of months. Actually, like in the end of 2021, this stock had like an all-time high of like just under $62 a share. Now it's at 36, and like that's a really big swing for a company like Pfizer. And depending on how their outlook is, they can completely turn things around, or this trend can just get a lot worse. But either way, I'm really gonna be looking at Pfizer, and more specifically, like if they have like a good earnings reaction and they're up in pre-market or whatever the case may be, I would love to ride the momentum on this one. And if they're down, then that might be a different story. You might have to scalp some puts on it.
Yeah, and it might be fun to try to ride to the upside if it goes up. We saw the big money buy into some 35 strike calls back on July 18th, just a couple weeks ago. So that could be pretty big there. If it starts flying up and it's breaking those highs, then maybe the big money knew something, because that's quite a bit of money going into those 35 strike calls. And, Pfizer is a big stock tomorrow, and there's so many tomorrow before open. There's Norwegian Cruise Lines, Uber, Caterpillar, Pfizer, JetBlue Airlines, and after hours, we have AMD, Starbucks, Pinterest, MicroStrategy. So there's a lot going on tomorrow, Mike. Even like Starbucks is a pretty big one.
Yeah, there we go. But Tom, while earnings is very exciting this week, the calendar isn't too exciting, but make it quick, Tom. Fill us in. What do we have to know?
Yeah, tomorrow we have manufacturing PMI coming in 10 a.m. Eastern time along with JOLTS job openings. Other than that, on Thursday, we have ISM services PMI, some initial jobless claims, but Friday is going to be the big day, in my opinion, with the unemployment rate, non-farm payrolls. Like you said, Mike, not really too much on that front, which makes me happy. We can really focus on these big earnings and just the overall market's movement.
Thank you for making it quick. No one really cares about that stuff. But, back to the overall market, I saw this data today showing like the major indices, the S&P 500, NASDAQ, Dow, and the Russell, and you would not believe how close the Dow, S&P 500, and the NASDAQ are to new all-time highs. Like, it's crazy to think about, but the Dow is literally 3.5% away from brand new all-time highs, and the NASDAQ's like 5% away, so it's really not that much, Tom. Like, it's like weird to say, like the past couple of years have been so crazy, and it's like, I don't even know what to say. I'm like kind of speechless.
Yeah, like we could have that movement in a couple days even with these earnings going on. Like I was going to say a couple weeks, but considering the earnings, like we could be at new highs really soon if some of these stocks like Apple and etc. explode here this week. Man, that could be big, and it really is crazy to say that, because we had such a big pullback post-COVID. Like we had that big COVID run. 2022 was a disaster. I mean, people were obviously pissed that the growth stocks all fell down and everything, but this year has been so good. We've been seeing so many stocks come back, which is a good thing in my opinion. So I love it, Mike, and I'm really hoping that the market can get back to all-time highs. But then again, this also just shows like the sheer amount of growth that we've seen this year. Like normally we don't have a recovery this stiff besides something like COVID where the Fed is like pumping tons of money into the market.
Exactly. The money printers have been kind of silent lately, but stocks just don't care. But hey, I'll take it. It's nice to see this type of movement. And guys, let us know in the comments down below if you think we're going to crack some new all-time highs this year. I'm very curious to see your guys' thoughts. But Tom, while the market has been uptrending pretty well over the past couple weeks and months, tomorrow's not looking too great, at least historically speaking. So with data going all the way back to 1953, 70 years ago, right? It basically shows that when the stock market or the S&P 500 is up 10% or more year to date, and on August 1st, basically when you have the market up a lot, on August 1st, the market tends to have a much larger than usual pullback, and that's not necessarily a good thing. We could see basically like on basically all other days and all other years, the market ends up doing just fine, but historically speaking, over the past 70 years, August 1st is not necessarily a great day for the market. Now, take of this information what you will, I'll say.
Yeah, exactly. Like we never know if this is going to end up holding up or anything, but hey, it's definitely a cool stat over that many, over that time frame to see a pullback on the first day of August. And let me know in the comments, why do you think that is? Do you think that there's some algos behind this? You think people are cutting profits right there end of month, or who knows? I mean, there could be a plethora of reasons, but I am curious why that is. And I know that there's a lot of stats like this with the market, Mike, that sometimes make me blow my mind because you think in your head, you're like, oh, it shouldn't matter, but then they actually hold up and you're like, well, geez, maybe there's something to this.
Yeah, it's interesting. So, like, with, like, charts like this, like, I don't think someone should be like, oh my god, I'm going all into puts tomorrow because, August 1st has to be a red day. Like, that's not true, right? That's just stupid, right? The market does not have to be red tomorrow, but I do think it is interesting looking at this data, and, if you see the market weak tomorrow, maybe, this past 70 years worth of data will give you some extra confidence to play puts or play the market in, like, a bearish way, and that's totally fine, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, I really like that, using that as like a sentiment for tomorrow, because it's like, over the past couple of weeks, I've been kind of having like a bearish sentiment. So like as the market starts to have some of these big pullbacks intraday, it's really nice to like, at least have like in the back of your mind, like some way that you think the market's going to go. So you're not just like guessing, obviously just going without any information at all.
Exactly. Tom, one stock that I've been talking about a lot over like the past 1 to 2 years is CCJ. Let's check out the chart on this one because it has been on a pretty solid uptrend. And for those of you who don't know, this is like a uranium company. And, you know, when you think of uranium, you can't help but think of nuclear stuff, whether that be nuclear energy or nukes or whatever you think. But either way, this is a stock that I really like for the long term, and it has been moving in a great way. And there's been some good like nuclear news lately. Like for instance, today, America's first new nuclear reactor in nearly 7 years started operations today in Georgia. So that's pretty good. You know, Tom, I don't know if you have any input on this, but it's definitely not something you see every day.
Exactly. It's the first one in 7 years. And the thing is that nuclear reactors, a lot of people say that, they're not very clean because I know that if there's a problem with them, then obviously there's going to be some contamination into the environment. But what's awesome is like this is going to power up to an estimated 500,000 homes and businesses with clean energy, with no greenhouse gases that are generated from this. So honestly, it's pretty good as long as, it stays contained in the system. But it's awesome. I love this news for CCJ today, and we saw all of the uranium stocks flying up, like CCJ, UUUU, and there was even a few more that were flying up. I actually think UUUU is very enticing right now, 6.33% in the short term. I know that they're not going to be as good as CCJ, but they might be one of those stocks that, might be a little bit more of like a riskier trade, for example. But it's cool to see all of them flying up. And man, CCJ making new highs like this. I mean, this is awesome, Mike. I've had your support on here for a long, long time, and this stock has done nothing but go up ever since we marked that.
Love to see it. And yeah, we've been talking about it for a while. So, I know a bunch of you probably remember, but, back when this stock was in like the low 20s and even before that, like long before that, we were talking about this one nonstop and it has just been booming. And, it's a stock I'm going to hold for the long term. So I'll just continuously add more and more and more to it. But it's definitely great to see, developments in the nuclear/uranium industry. So, good stuff there, Tom, but we are long overdue to crack right into some of our favorite setups for tomorrow. And Tom, one stock I'm watching very closely is the mouse, Disney. So this stock has had a rough couple years, to be honest. So this stock, it's kind of sad to even say this, is actually trading near the same level that it was like in its peak of like 2014 to like early 2015. And, through that time span, it fell a ton during COVID and it rised a ton after when the market was just printing. And it's just like in a weird spot right now. But of course, as a company, they are quite the powerhouse. And what's interesting is like in like the short term, they have some good momentum that honestly they haven't had in a while. So I'm going to be watching Disney pretty closely to the upside for tomorrow. The short-term price action is something that we haven't seen in a while, and when this one runs, it normally lasts for, a couple weeks.
Yeah, I can. I've actually been looking at Disney for a long time, Mike. I've been acquiring shares down here while they've been lower, and I've been loving it. My average price is actually like right around 90. So the higher they go above there, the better. I will say, though, I'm being a little bit careful because they've been pretty weak. So if they continue to fall, I'll just keep averaging in, make that price even lower. But they had some great news today. I saw that there was like a rumored partnership with Apple, which is very interesting. I know that they talked about partnering with Apple with their new headsets, which is cool. So I'm glad that they're talking about this with ESPN and the iPhone, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that could be done with the iPhone and ESPN. So just the more integration, the better, I guess. And that's amazing though for Disney stock, Mike. Glad to see them running up the way that they are. And with my play of the day, I'm actually going to go with Palantir. I know a lot of people were loving this play this morning. Palantir is a fan favorite, and they were up 11.4%. Getting actually up to $20 a share. If they are able to break above $20.15 tomorrow, I'm going to look at calls to the upside. Man, Mike, there was a stack of sell orders here on the book map. Look at this, guys. 348,000 shares. 920,000 shares were stacked up there right around the end of day on Bookmap. So keep your eyes on $20. If we keep breaking above this tomorrow with Palantir, there might be some serious momentum on our hands here.
Yeah, that thing is moving. Like, I was looking at this one all day long, and it's just like, you look at it and it's up so much, and I love it because I own this stock for the long term, but it's just like, it keeps pumping day after day after day after day, and I'm on that Palantir train for the long term, baby, so I love to see it.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, and then Bookmap, we can see those shares stacked up there too. Like if $20 breaks, this is going to be an amazing break right here of a good resistance. So keep watching this into tomorrow. And if you guys want access to Bookmap, check out the links down below. It's awesome that you can see these big orders stacked up at places like this. And you can really tell that, yeah, even this morning, I called it out in Discord. I was like, man, watch $20. That's a pretty big area. And Palantir never got back above it until the end of the day.
You gotta love the X-ray vision, Tom. Like you said, you said it right before it happened. There was a huge level of sellers right at 20, and, it's no surprise that the stock couldn't break through there. So, good stuff there, and awesome play. Another stock I'm watching is Affirm, AFRM. This one is moving with some solid momentum. It has some strong resistance right around $19.58, but looking at the stock in after hours, it's just rising higher and higher and higher. So I was watching $19.58 for a break higher, but either way, this one is still one of the top stocks I'll be watching tomorrow to the upside. It has some pretty good intraday movement.
Yeah, and it was even badass to see the bot play popping off on Affirm too. SniperBot called it out this morning at 8:39 at 0.73, hit highs of 1.37. That's actually pretty good. That's nearing 100% there. So good play, SniperBot. Man, that's good to see, Mike. Another great Affirm play there.
Boom, let's go.
Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, my second play today is going to be Rivian. And guys, we've seen a lot of big money flowing into Rivian lately. Look at this daily chart. There's been a lot of call buyers coming in for like the longer term here. Now, I know that we're nearing expiration on this August one, which is very interesting to me. So they're still running up. If they're able to break about $28 tomorrow, I will look at more calls. It seems like they are just not slowing down, and they're staying above that recent range, which is awesome to see.
Awesome. Alrighty, well, it's now time for those momentum plays, and with the first one, we have Beyond Meat to the upside. Fake meat.
Yeah, the fake meat. Go ahead and make them break out above $17.25.
Alright, with the next one, we have Lucid also to the upside.
Yeah, this one's one of my favorites for tomorrow, too. Go ahead and make them break $7.65.
And with the last one, we have Meta for both directions.
META, bad drop, end of day. I'm surprised they didn't come up enough with the SPY there. If they break under 317.50, then look at puts. But if they break back above 320, then look at calls. 320 is actually pretty big there short term.
Speaking of Meta and Mark Zuckerberg, what's going on with this Elon Musk Zuckerberg fight? Like, there was a bunch of hype a couple weeks ago, and like it's like slowly dying down. Like, if there could be like one fight that happens over like the next like 5 years, I would hands down make it that one.
Man, screw Gaethje versus Poirier. I'm watching Elon versus Zuckerberg. I'll tell you what though, I hope that Elon doesn't go down with a kick like Poirier did.
Oh gosh, that'd be bad. But for these momentum plays, we have the downside level for Meta. If it breaks below that, we're watching it for puts. We have the upside level as well. If it breaks above that, we're watching it for calls. And then, of course, don't forget about the two other momentum plays, which are Lucid and Beyond Meat. If they break above their levels, we are also watching those ones for calls. But it is now time for the $760,000 big money trade of the day. And we are looking at AMLX. This is a no-name stock that I bet no one has ever heard of until now, but these plays are actually some of my favorite because they are much easier. I don't want to say to manipulate, but they're much more influenced by news and like insider traders and stuff like that. So long story short, someone's betting $760,000 for AMLX to rise quite a bit. They put this money into the 20 strike call options that expire on August 18th, Tom. So that's pretty soon of 2023. Basically, the higher the stock goes, the more millions they will make. This stock is a biopharmaceutical company that focuses on neurodegenerative diseases. So, it's in that crazy biopharmaceutical industry. Basically these stocks move a ton with news and catalysts and FDA approvals and all that good stuff. And with this setup, it's very high risk, but it's also very high reward. I've seen many stocks like this, explode beyond like I could describe, but at the same time, I've seen many of them tank down too. So it's like high risk, high reward, and it moves big time off news.
Yeah, they really do. And I'll tell you, this thing's been swinging a lot since it came on the market. It actually hasn't even been, publicly traded, at least under this ticker symbol, for a while now. It looks like since January 22, they've only been on the market for about a year or so, or a year and a half, 2 years. So I'm really going to hope that this stock comes up. It's not my favorite big money play that we've ever had, Mike, but hey, I'll definitely keep it on the radar with it being a biopharma stock. Like you said, they get some big moves sometimes, and it's usually off of crazy news that a lot of times an insider or something might know about. So like Mike said, these can be pretty heavily influenced here.
No doubt. So I'm pretty excited for tomorrow, especially with all of these exciting earnings reports, not only before open, but after close and throughout the whole rest of the week. So I'm pretty pumped up. If today wasn't your day, guys, that's okay. We are in the heart of earnings season. In terms of movement and volatility, this is really the best you can ask for besides like maybe interest rate decisions. But hey, this is it for individual stock volatility. We have some of the biggest names in the entire market reporting, but we also have some smaller growth stocks reporting too. So there's kind of something for everyone. At the same time, as we showed earlier in the video, tomorrow, at least over the past 70 years worth of data, is usually red. But hey, of course, take every single day as a new day. Go into the market with your head held up high. Stay disciplined. Don't get crazy out there going in, all into certain positions. Stay disciplined, and let's make tomorrow an awesome day. Tom, do you have any last minute thoughts or anything before we close out?
Yeah, like you said, stay disciplined out there. I'm still watching The Spy, Mike, in the big channel. It's been stuck in this channel for a long, long time now. We are getting towards the end. I am hoping to see a bit of a pullback come in here. These earnings are definitely going to give us a bigger clue, in my opinion. So let's see where it takes us. These big tech stocks are going to be key the next few days.
And last but not least, guys, if you are not subscribed to the StockedUp YouTube channel, what are you doing? Make sure to subscribe. When you do, you'll see our videos recommended to you more often. It basically takes you nothing to subscribe. You just got to click a button, but you'll see our videos recommended to you more often. And in every single video, we go over the most important news you need to know, multi-million-dollar big money trades. We spend hours making these videos, and we try to make them easy to watch as well. So why not subscribe? Also, we want to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, Xbox Fanatic. You've been in the Discord for a year now, and you're super active on the StockedUp live stream. So huge shout out to you. Thank you all so much for watching, and let's make tomorrow an amazing day.